Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum and the reason why we're here. So, if you guys like the content, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, this is the beginning of a theoretical move, anyways, that we have been waiting for. And as we've been talking about with Ethereum, there's no reason to hold it if you can't outperform Bitcoin. And so, historically speaking, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. And because of that, we're willing to take on that extra volatility or risk and with the expectation that it will yield a higher return. Okay. And if you take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, which we've been following for a while, this we can see a nice candle here that could theoretically be our momentum shift turnaround point. And so this is one of the things we've been waiting for. We'll see if it holds, of course. But for now, it does look somewhat promising given Bitcoin's how bullish Bitcoin has been recently. So if you take a look at Bitcoin, you can see our Bitcoin bull market support band. We recognized that it was sort of front running Ethereum here, going up above the band, sideways, back down into it, and then back up, sideways, back down to test it, sideways, and then up. Okay, so you kind of see the up, sideways, into the band, up, sideways, down, test it as support, and then kind of rocket off into space, more or less. And then if you go over to Ethereum, you can kind of see that similar pattern that we observed. We talked about it a lot in the live stream, but it just hadn't made that last move yet, right? So it came up, it moved sideways into the band, it came up, back down, tested as support, and then it was here, and it's like, well, this move hasn't happened yet. And if you were to take a measured move from the top of this local top here to where Bitcoin currently is, we're looking at a modest 50% gain. And with Ethereum, in order for Ethereum to see a modest 50% gain from that local top, it's already only at 29%. So if it were to go 50% up, 55% or so, that would put it at a cool $650 or so. But again, the argument remains, if you can hold Bitcoin from here and see a 55% ROI over, over a certain time period here, and Ethereum can't outperform it, then why hold Ethereum? So I would hope. I mean, again, there's no free lunch here. There's always a risk associated with everything involved in crypto, but I would hope that Ethereum could actually push past that. And get past. I mean, even 650. I would hope it could push past it. But again, there's no guarantee. And remember, this is not a daily thing. It's not even a weekly thing. These momentum shifts can take time. These are weekly candles, and this bleed that you see from this green candle right here, which got us to the top of it, the bleed from there to this point took us 14 weeks. So we're talking about 3 months, a little over 3 months maybe. It's a long time. It's not a daily thing. On any given day, you can see a move up or a move down. It does not mean anything. What you want to see are these clear momentum shifts in the market, whether it's back up or back down over a weekly time frame. Here was one. It just took us halfway through it, back down, and then back all the way up to the top, back down. And now our thesis again was that buying Ethereum with Bitcoin in December has historically worked out really well. But it's also been a good buy throughout the fourth quarter because historically speaking, as we have showed, Ethereum bleeds against Bitcoin in the fourth quarter, and there really is no sense in trying to time the bottom because you really just don't know where the bottom is in the fourth quarter of every single year. The only thing we do know is that it does tend to bleed in the fourth quarter. And so we take this knowledge and say, okay, it's the fourth quarter. We've been saying for months now, it's the fourth quarter. We're likely going to see a bleed, especially given Bitcoin's testing of the 20-week moving average, continued volatility to the upside. Okay, this is exactly what we've expected. Now, and by the way, I'm not trying to say I expected Bitcoin to go to 18K because I didn't, frankly. Or 19K. I didn't expect Bitcoin to have this short-term bubble, whatever you want to call it, up to 19K in the short term, but we did expect that if Bitcoin volatility stayed high, that Ethereum would likely bleed in the fourth quarter, and in fact, this would just make it the 6th year in a row that Ethereum has lost value against Bitcoin in the fourth quarter of the year. Now, one of the things we showed in a recent video on Ethereum was that the move does not always wait until January. So here, the move started the first week of January. Here, it started the first week of January. This one started mid-December. And then this one started mid-December. And then this one started the first or second week of January. So we've looked at this before and said, okay, well, these moves have ranged from maybe the first week of January to mid-December. Historically speaking, though, if you're buying Ethereum with Bitcoin in December, it has ultimately yielded at least approximately a 50% ROI, sometimes up to 1,700%, a modest 1,700%. So we recognize that we don't know where the move's going to come, and that's why I've said every step of the way, it's a little bit more pragmatic rather than trying to time the bottom, to just DCA the move and try to just fundamentally time that momentum shift, and even maybe doing it on the way back up, depending on what your risk tolerance is. And that way, when it comes back up here, if it does, which I don't know if it will or not, but if it does, then you recognize that, okay, is it more likely at this point to continue going up, which it could, but it's all about timing the momentum shift in the market, not necessarily timing specifically the identic turnaround point. So imagine if it did come back up here, I mean, just be prepared for anything. If it did come back up here, then in the same way that you were dollar cost averaging the buys of Ethereum with Bitcoin, you could dollar cost average the sells of Ethereum back to Bitcoin. And you could do something here, maybe something here. If it comes above it, a little bit more. And that way, it's all about these, in my opinion, right? It's all about these just subtle shifts in the market, because whenever Bitcoin becomes volatile, and it will become volatile, you see that the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio will bleed. Now, I would never sell all of my Ethereum. I own a lot of Ethereum, but I also recognize that there are fundamental shifts within the market, and I try to take advantage of those. And one of them is the historic Q4 bleed of Ethereum. And that's why when Bitcoin was testing the 20-week moving average over here, I was focusing mostly on buying Bitcoin. And when Ethereum was up here, I had a stop loss back to Bitcoin. And all this was documented on the premium list. So if you haven't checked out the premium list, I would encourage you to do it. We have about a week and a half left for the sale, the Black Friday sale. So if you want to get in at the lower price, you can lock it in perpetually as long as you don't cancel. You can sign up for the premium list with the Black Friday discount, and you can find that in the description below, a link to that in the description below. And the point is, again, just trying to subtly time these momentum shifts of the market, not trying to make any case like we know where the bottom is or we know where the top is. I'll be the first to tell you guys, I don't know where the top is. I don't know where the bottom is, but I do know that I want to make money along the way, and I want to secure profits in the least risky way possible. And in my opinion, accumulating Ethereum down here is a lot less risky than accumulating it up here. And in fact, I would prefer to be selling it up here, which I did have a stop loss back to Bitcoin. And if we come back up to this point, am I going to think, oh, this time is different? Or am I going to take a more pragmatic approach and say, maybe it's time to lock in some of those gains, right? And if it does come back up here, we're talking about a 70% move of Ethereum, not against USD, but against Bitcoin, right? So we're not claiming, I'm not saying necessarily anything about where it's going to go in USD, because the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio ultimately depends on the price of Bitcoin. So if the ratio is 0.04, but Bitcoin is $10,000, that's a lot different than if Bitcoin is $20,000, right? I mean, it's a 2x multiple. So this could be the beginning of the move, okay? And as we've said before, it's historically a good buy in December, and I will maintain that there's still a good chance that it could remain a good buy in December, because we're still at the bottom part of this range, and December is only a little over a week away. But you guys know that I don't put too much credence in trying to identically time the bottom, because as we showed back in 2019, the bottom of the local bottom of Ethereum Bitcoin came in September, not December, but it didn't change the fact that it was a good buy in December. So I hope that makes sense, and so hopefully hopefully this is just the beginning of the move, right? And that we're going to come back up. Because if it's not, and we come back down, then again, this is not what we're looking for. There's always the possibility exists that this could happen, right? There's no free lunch here. I mean, if you're buying Ethereum here with Bitcoin, you are taking on a risk, and and I should say, right, that at these USD values of Ethereum, I would be very hesitant to be pouring a ton of money in. I have been DCAing a lot over the last few weeks, but just recognize that we are looking at a potential shift in the momentum of Ethereum against Bitcoin. And again, at the end of the day, the USD valuation is somewhat irrelevant, in my opinion. A lot of people were excited when we broke 400, like a couple weeks. I mean, because we were only at we were less than 400, like not that long ago, right? I mean, we're talking like beginning of November, we were less than $400, and when we broke $400, then it was more like meh, like yeah, it's nice. This break of 400 wasn't as substantial as this one, because this break of 400 came when Bitcoin was not doing that hot. And so that was more substantial. So the subsequent break of 400 was like, oh, okay, fine. It's being drug up by Bitcoin, who cares? The subsequent break of $500 was, okay, it's good, but it's just being drug up by Bitcoin. And now what we're seeing is maybe a shift. It's too early to call, right? It's too early to say, but maybe it's a shift, because if Bitcoin gets comfy at 18.5 and we start to see Ethereum run, right? And if it runs like Bitcoin ran, then this could just be the beginning, right? And I don't say that lightly, right? You guys know I'm really conservative. I don't say that lightly. I do think that there's a decent chance. There's no such thing as a sure thing, again, but there's a decent chance that this move is just getting kicked off. So again, I don't want to encourage anyone to assume or presume that Ethereum has to go up a couple hundred more dollars, but I want you to understand that it would be completely within the realm of possibility. And if it did do that, it would not be that surprising. In fact, it would almost be the expectation. Again, a 50% move, which is what Bitcoin did from that local top, would put Ethereum near 650. But again, I would hope that Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin. So that's why I'm saying, there's nothing necessarily precluding Ethereum from making a run at $700 or $800 or maybe $1,000 over the next few months. So we'll be prepared for anything. Remember, I mean, if Bitcoin absolutely kicks the bucket here and has like a 35% drop or something, Ethereum will correct in the short term. It's just as simple as that, and it most likely would correct against Bitcoin too. However, if Bitcoin slowly bleeds, right, which is kind of what it has been doing, it was at 18.9, now it's at 18.5. If it slowly bleeds, probably not a bad thing for Ethereum, right? Probably good, honestly. I mean, it probably would insinuate that people are taking Bitcoin profits and putting them into Ethereum. So a slow bleed of Bitcoin would be fine. I think a sideways movement of Bitcoin would be fine. If Bitcoin continues this rally and breaks the prior all-time high, this ratio is probably going to keep bleeding. Just be aware of all the different scenarios, because that is a certain possibility. So it's an exciting time for sure. Q1 is historically a decent time for Ethereum, at least, especially leading into Q1. We saw that 2 out of the 5 years the move started in Q4 in mid-December, and then in 3 of the years the move of Ethereum against Bitcoin started in early January. It's possible that this move starts in late November, or we'll look back and say, yeah, it was around the second to, or the last week of November, or the second to last week of November, something like that. And hindsight will ultimately elucidate the truth there, but we'll follow this every step of the way. So again, if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Ethereum's at 565, and it's business as usual. It's really not that impressive considering Bitcoin's move. Hopefully we can see this push higher, and we'll tune in every step of the way. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Also, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Also, we do have the Telegram channel Sorry, I just said the Telegram channel. We also have the Black Friday sale. So if you guys want to check out the Black Friday sale, it will remain open for about another week and a half. So we're just running it for 2 weeks. So it'll remain open for another week and a half. If you guys want to get in at the promotion price and lock it in perpetually, I would encourage you to sign up before then. And you'll get access to the weekly reports, the weekly videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade, the trading view indicators, and the dynamic DCA selling dashboard. You get access to a whole lot of stuff, and you also unlock access to all the prior reports and prior videos that are only for the premium list. So I would encourage you to check it out. It's an exciting time. Let's see where it takes us. We'll see you next time. Bye.